I realized my warm mist humidifier was reaching the end of its life when I noticed some corrosion and pitting in the heating element. I've had this unit since 2016, so it had a good lifespan of about 6 winter seasons. At the time, I chose a warm mist humidifier because I only needed to humidify a relatively small room. I could use the added heat from the steam, and it seemed safer and simpler to maintain compared to cool mist humidifiers at the cost of using more energy to heat the water. My needs are a little different this time. I need to humidify a larger space and would not like to use as much electricity, like running, on a day-to-day basis, running this warm mist humidifier. So I want something that's cost-effective and simple to maintain. Some other Vornado humidifiers claim to output 4 gallons of moisture over 24 hours, but the Evap40 evaporative humidifier seems to be the only one with a 4-gallon capacity. It goes for about, when I was putting this all together, $130 about on Vornado's website, but I was able to get one for about $100 at Kohl's with a coupon. Compared to Vornado's other humidifiers, the Evap40 looks clunkier and more utilitarian, and as much as I wanted a sleek, pretty humidifier, this was the most powerful Vornado model available at Kohl's. The product manual, not included in the box, says the wicks are treated with an antimicrobial substance, but I kept touching my face, so I definitely hopped in the shower when I was done filming all this. The wicks will require replacing once they become saturated with minerals that are dissolved in the water, but I'll frankly accept that as the cost of keeping those minerals from being dispersed in the air and depositing on surfaces, like what might happen if I wanted to use an ultrasonic humidifier with tap water. So first, I try to be responsible and read the instructions, even though they didn't hand out a manual with the box. I poured some water into the base to check for leaks. I'm pretty sure this wet spot is the result of some splashing, because I didn't see any drips when I picked up the unit to pour the water out. The water tanks are, again, not as pretty as the ones on some of Vornado's other humidifiers, but filling them is super easy. I can just lie them flat in the kitchen sink and let them fill without needing to, keep them stable. And so the placement of the handle here shifts most of the weight so that the water doesn't spill out of the opening when I carry the tank back to the unit. It just feels very natural and well engineered. I didn't need to take the wicks out, but I'm going to put them back in and put the power unit on top of the base before putting the water tanks in. After taking this cover off, I can plug the unit into a polarized outlet. Depending on how elegant you are, some water may splash while putting the tanks into position, but it's fairly easy to figure out how they fit into the unit based on their shape. I can remove one tank to add more water without the base overflowing. It seems well engineered. So the larger of the two dials on the right controls the fan speed, but it doesn't start working. The fan doesn't start going until I turn up the humidistat, which is controlled by the smaller dial on the left. Now, on high, the fan doesn't feel very powerful, but because of this, it also doesn't really generate a lot of noise. As I've been doing this voiceover, the humidifier is running on high, maybe, 3 or 4 yards. That's less than 10 feet away. It's running less than 10 feet away from me on high. Vornado's trademark vortex circulation is supposed to create a more effective whole room circulation pattern than other fans. And this piece of dust on the wall about 2 feet away starts moving when I change the fan speed from low to high. Because it's blowing up out of the fan, hitting the ceiling, going onto the wall. After 1 hour, my hygrometer of questionable precision and accuracy registered an increase in the relative humidity and temperature. Despite running my air circulator on high overnight, the relative humidity did not increase significantly, which brings me to maybe an important point here. I like the white noise generated by the fan when it's bedtime, but I can see the advantage in having a whisper quiet ultrasonic humidifier for daytime use, especially if I were, say, recording a voiceover. Still, I have no intention of returning the Evap40. I mean, if something changes, if something like drastically goes wrong, I'll make sure to post an update eventually. The manual contains detailed instructions for deep cleaning the unit with bleach, but I think as long as I keep an eye on the wicks and make sure not to leave water standing in the unit for too long, this is kind of just a set it and forget it type of operation. So this is the part of the voiceover where I'm not going to have any noise reduction. I've actually had the unit going on high about like, I don't know where the measuring tape is, but like maybe like 12 feet away. Like it's sort of in the other room. It's not right next to me, but you know, it contributes a little bit of noise. This is the fan on the high setting. This is the medium setting. And this is the low setting. You know, I did some tests also where, you know, I can splice in the audio from the onboard mic on my camera with different fan settings. And like, it's really, the low setting on the humidifier, like the fan is so quiet. It's almost like it's off. Now, I'm still on the first set of wicks or pads that came with the product. I have tried flipping them over when there seems to be some of that mineral deposit building up and sort of like crusting at the top. I assume there's going to be a point when it builds up way too much and no amount of like rinsing or, you know, rotating or whatever. You know, once it really seems like, okay, it's been hours, there's still the same amount of water in the tanks, there's not enough surface for this stuff to evaporate, you know, that's when it's time to replace the wicks. I think the manual said it's like 4 to 6 weeks, but it depends on your water, the hardness of your water, the mineral content dissolved in that water, and all that stuff.